Reed Harmon came home at 6:47 on a Tuesday evening in November and stood in the doorway of his own penthouse for a full 30 seconds before he understood what he was looking at. The apartment was immaculate. That was the first thing. Not disordered, not emptied in rage. Immaculate. The kitchen counters were clean. The throw pillows on the sectional were precisely arranged. The dining table had been polished. On its surface sat a single white envelope with his name written in Cecile's handwriting. The careful, architectural script she used when she was being deliberate about something. He walked through every room. Piper's room. Stripped of her drawings, her stuffed rabbit, the small string of starlights she slept with. The closet open and empty. The master bedroom. Cecile's side of the closet, bare. Her nightstand drawer, empty. Her bottles gone from the bathroom counter, every single one, even the small one she kept for travel. He came back to the kitchen and stood in front of the envelope without opening it. His phone showed no missed calls, no messages. Nothing from Cecile since a text she'd sent at 2 in the afternoon that said only, "Piper has her coat." She never went anywhere without telling him first. That had been one of the constants. One of the things he had come to rely on without ever thinking about whether relying on it was fair. He opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper. No accusations.
This charcoal tweed has a
no list of
beautiful
grievances.
drape.
3 sentences.
It feels wonderful.
I have been
I think this is
disappearing
the one.
for a long time. Today I decided to stop. Please don't look for us. We are safe. And we are somewhere we can
I think the brushed
finally
metal
breathe.
works best here. Yes, I
He
agree.
read it twice.
balances the texture
Then he
of
walked
the
to the
linen.
living room and noticed for the first time what Cecile had done to the wall. The large east-facing wall, the one she had asked twice to paint a deep sage green, and he had declined both times because he preferred white, had been painted. Not hastily, not carelessly, beautifully. A sweeping botanical mural in sage and terracotta and soft gold. Floor to ceiling, trailing vines and open blooms across the white he had insisted on. She must have done it while Piper was at school. She had left him the apartment exactly as he wanted it, and taken everything that was actually alive. Reed set the letter
I
down on the
must say,
kitchen counter,
the craftsmanship in this lobby
and for the
is
first time
remarkable.
in 9 years,
Truly a
the
masterpiece.
penthouse felt exactly
How do you
like
approach the spatial
what it had always
constraints in
been.
adaptive reuse
A
projects?
beautiful,
It's about finding the
empty
balance
room.
between historical
Before Reed,
integrity and modern
Cecile
function.
Penn had a studio on North Damen Avenue with her name on the door in brushed brass letters. Penn plus Cho Design. She and Miles had started it the year after
This
they
is
both
my
graduated
room.
from the Art
It's
Institute.
finally all
2 people with more
mine.
taste than money and enough stubbornness to make a go of it anyway. Their early projects were small. A therapist's waiting room in Wicker Park, a coffee shop in Pilsen, a law firm in the West Loop that became a portfolio piece. Then they got bigger. A boutique hotel in River North, a private residence in Kenilworth that was featured in Architectural Digest.
As you can see,
Cecile
a
had a
return
gift
to the
that went
studio
beyond
is simply
aesthetics.
unnecessary.
She
We are
could
done
walk
here.
into a room and feel what was wrong with it, not just
If we put
visually,
the sofa
but
here, we'll have
emotionally.
enough space for the bookshelves on this
She
wall.
understood
I don't know,
that
that might
people
block
didn't
the
live
light.
in rooms.
The TV should go
They
there
lived
instead.
in feelings.
Your contributions
Light,
have been valuable.
proportion,
However,
the weight
the
of a
partners
color
have
on a
decided
wall.
to go in a different direction
These
with
were
this
the things
project.
that made someone feel safe or unsettled, seen
future will
or
be good.
overlooked. She met Reed at the hotel opening in River North. He was there for a business dinner
I'm
and
ready
wandered
for
into the
whatever
lobby
comes
and
next.
looked around with the expression of
I
someone
really
who
am.
was unexpectedly impressed. He found Cecile by the bar and said, "Did you do this?" "My partner and I," she said. "It feels like somewhere I'd actually want to be," he said. "That's rarer than you'd think." She liked him that night. She liked his directness, his confidence, the way he listened when she talked about her work. He asked smart questions. He remembered things she said. He came back to the hotel the following week and left her a note at the front desk, handwritten on cardstock, asking if she'd have dinner with him. She kept that note for years. The studio closed 2 years into their marriage. It was not a dramatic decision. It was a series of small ones. A project she turned down because it conflicted with a trip Reed planned, a partnership meeting she missed, a deadline she couldn't meet during a particularly difficult stretch of the first year. Miles absorbed the workload. Then he absorbed the clients. Then one day, Cecile looked up and realized she hadn't been to the studio in 3 months. Miles told her the desk would be there when she was ready. She had not been ready for 9 years. But the woman who could feel what was wrong with a room
I agree.
had known
The
for a
lighting
very
is
long
perfect
time
for the close-up we discussed.
what was wrong with her life.
Make sure the
And had
transition
simply
is
been
subtle.
waiting until she trusted herself enough to fix it. Reed Harmon would have told you his marriage was fine. He would have said it with complete sincerity, which was the part that made it difficult to argue with. He was not an obvious villain. He did not yell. He did not threaten. He provided generously, consistently. And he believed that provision was the primary language of love, and that he was fluent in it. What he did not understand, had perhaps never understood, was that Cecile did not need provision.
Understood.
She had been capable
We'll be in touch within
of
the
providing
hour.
for herself.
Here is the initial
What she had
deposit
needed
for the new account.
and never quite
Thank you.
received was to be treated as someone whose
And here is
wants
your temporary
and opinions
card and receipt.
professional ambitions were as real and valid as his own. The first time she brought up the studio, he said, "Cece, you don't need to work. That's the point." The second time, "Miles can handle it. You're stretched thin." The third time, "I just think it's a lot to take on with everything we have going on." He was never wrong exactly. He was never cruel exactly. He was simply consistently, reliably sure that he knew better. And he delivered that certainty in a voice so calm and reasonable that Cecile spent years wondering if she was the one being unreasonable. His phone told a different story. Cecile had not gone looking. She had picked up his phone
Is
to silence an alarm
IDO2
one morning
coming?
and seen a message from a
Yes,
contact
sweetie, he's
saved
just running a
as
little
V.
late.
3 words.
It's all right.
Nothing
We're
explicit,
okay. There's nothing to be
but
scared
written in
of.
the tone of someone who had standing, who expected access, who felt familiar in a way that a professional contact does not. She set the phone down and said nothing. That was 14 months ago. She spent 14 months being very quiet and very observant and very deliberate. She watched Reed. She watched herself. She watched the slow erosion of the woman she had been and made a private decision about what to do about it. She did not confront him. She prepared. She called Audra on a Sunday afternoon in September and spoke for 2 hours. She emailed Miles 2
I
weeks
need
later,
to know why you truly
a
kept
short
this
note,
desk for 9
uncertain
years.
and formal, asking if there was still a conversation to have.
It's gonna be
He
okay,
called her
sweetie.
back within the hour.
I promise we'll
She
get through
opened a
this
personal
together.
bank account
One
at
day
a
at a
Chase
time.
branch on Michigan Avenue on a Wednesday morning while
I bet
Piper
that
was
house
at school,
smells like cinnamon and old books.
depositing the small amount of cash
Oh, that
she had
is a
been setting
good one,
aside for 8
sweetie.
months. She did not
Turn
leave
was
in anger.
wanted for the whole
She
time.
left in clarity.
And
clarity, it turned out, had been building for over a year. Piper Harmon was 7 years old and had her mother's eyes, wide, dark, and extraordinarily attentive. She did not fully understand what was happening the morning her mother woke her up earlier than usual and said quietly that they were going to go stay with Aunt Audra for a while. Piper asked if Daddy was coming. Cecile said not right now. Piper considered this for a moment and then asked if she could bring her rabbit. "Yes," Cecile said. "Bring your rabbit." Piper packed her own backpack. She was 7, but she was precise. She folded her things rather than stuffing them, the way she had watched her mother fold things her whole life. She brought the rabbit,
I've held this
2
in
books,
for so long,
her colored
trying to be
pencils,
perfect.
and a drawing
But
she had
honestly,
made
I
of their
can't keep
apartment
pretending
building
that
she had
everything
been
is
meaning
fine.
to give her mother and kept forgetting. She handed it to Cecile as they stood at the door. For when you miss it,
Permission
Piper
to
said.
choose already
Cecile
exists.
looked at the drawing, the clean lines of the building, the row of windows, the careful small figure Piper had drawn on the sidewalk outside. The figure was alone. Piper had drawn it alone without thinking about it, because that was how she saw her mother most often, standing outside of things. Cecile folded the drawing
Where are
carefully
you?
and put it in her coat
I've called
pocket.
10 times.
In
Just can't
Audra's
wait until
car,
morning. Call me
heading
back
to the
immediately.
West Loop, Piper sat in the back seat with her rabbit on her lap and watched Chicago pass outside the window. After a while,
You need
she
to call
said,
me back immediately.
"Mom,
They know you
are
were
you
there.
okay?"
It's not safe.
"I will be," Cecile said. "But right now,"
What kind of monkeys are those?
Cecile glanced at her
They
daughter
look
in the
like they're
rearview mirror.
playing.
"Right now, I'm working on it." Piper nodded, satisfied with that answer in the way that children are satisfied with honesty, even when adults aren't. Then she said, "I think Aunt Audra's house is going to smell really good." Audra laughed from the driver's seat, a full, genuine laugh. And Cecile felt something crack open in her chest, not painfully, but the way ice
I know,
cracks in
but we
spring,
have to move now.
the way something
I'm packing the
frozen
essentials.
begins.
Don't tell anyone, just meet
slowly
me at the extraction
to give
point as
way.
planned.
Outside, Chicago moved past the windows, gray and cold and enormous and completely indifferent to the small, significant thing that had just happened inside this car. Reed spent the first night calling her phone. It went to voicemail every time. Her recorded voice, calm, professional, the voice she used for clients when she still had clients, telling him she wasn't available and to leave a message. He left 3 before he stopped. He called Audra's landline.
Welcome home, honey.
It rang without answer. He texted Miles
We were
Cho
just
from a
about to have
contact he
dinner.
found in Cecile's old phone records. A number he hadn't used in years, hadn't needed to use.
Without cruelty.
Miles did not respond. He
We
sat
need
on
to
the
finalize
sectional
the
in the
division
living
of the
room
joint
with his back
assets
to the mural
immediately.
and his MacBook Pro open
I've
on
already
the coffee
secured the
table.
children's enrollment for the fall.
Running through the previous
It's important
14
to
months in
remember
his
that
mind,
every choice we
with the
make
systematic
ultimately
precision
can
he
lead to
applied real
moments of
estate
both
transactions.
loneliness and profound learning.
Looking for the moment he had missed.
And what about the
but
complications
the
we
warning
discussed
he had
regarding
not
the
registered.
acquisition?
He found several. The Sunday in September when she had been on the phone
Does
in the back bedroom for 2
IDZO2
hours and told him
understand the
afterwards
wrong
she had been
choices
catching
he
up with an
made?
old college friend. The way she had begun waking up earlier, not restlessly, but purposefully, with the particular focused energy of someone who has something to do. The chase statement he had seen on the kitchen counter in October that he had assumed was a credit card bill and not looked at more closely.
I appreciate you sharing that.
He had not looked at it
I think
because it did not occur to him
understanding
to look.
may finally be beginning for
He
me
had
too.
believed,
Life
with the unexamined
at
certainty of a man
ID03
who has never been
home
wrong about the
feels
things he
better
assumed were
now.
his. That Cecile was not capable of this level of planning. That she was too unsure of herself, too dependent,
Welcome
too far
home,
from the
Habibti.
person she had been
Come
before
in, it's warm
him.
inside.
He had been
Wow,
thinking
it
about the
smells
person she had been
amazing.
before him
It's so
and concluding
cozy.
she was gone. He had not considered the possibility that she had simply been waiting. He called his attorney the following morning. A brief conversation. The attorney asked several questions about joint assets, about the apartment, about Piper's school enrollment. Reed answered them efficiently. Then the attorney asked, "Reed, is there anything on your end that might complicate proceedings?" A pause. He thought about the contact saved as V in his phone. "I'll call you back," he said. He ended the call and sat in the kitchen. The kitchen Cecile had kept meticulously clean. The kitchen where she had made coffee every morning for 9 years. And for the first time,
I have to admit,
let himself
I've
consider the
expected your
specific
arrival
shape
for 2
of what
whole
he had done.
years.
It looked different from this side of the equation. Audra
Call
Penn's
should have
home in
happened
the West
sooner.
Loop was everything Cecile's penthouse was not. It was older, narrower, a converted row house on Fulton Market that Audra had renovated herself over 20 years.
I have to confess, the preparation
Adding
for the
things as she
studio,
needed
especially
them,
IDO
removing
5 and the
things that
botanical
stopped
mural, was
working,
overwhelming.
Painting
But I
walls
finally
the
feel free
colors
talking
she
about
actually
it.
wanted without asking anyone's permission. Every room was different. Every room felt inhabited. The kitchen smelled like cardamom and old wood, and the particular warmth of a home that had been lived in, honestly. Piper walked in and said,
I know you
I
said
was
just
right.
to listen,
"It smells
but
really
it's been
good."
so difficult lately.
Audra had set up the guest
I
room
really
for both of
appreciate
them.
you being here.
A wide bed with
You need
extra
to
quilts,
understand
a lamp,
that the
a
life
small
you've
desk under
chosen,
the window where
it
Piper
is
could draw.
absolutely allowed.
She had put fresh
And
flowers
this is
on
my
the
dad,
nightstand.
and he's wearing his favorite blue shirt. And
Not
this is my
expensive
grandma.
flowers.
Oh, wow, she looks so happy
Grocery
there.
store
And who
flowers,
is this little
yellow
guy?
and simple, in a mason jar. Cecile stood in the doorway of the room and looked at the flowers for a long moment. "You knew I was coming before I called," she said. Audra stood behind her. "I knew you were coming for
So
2
a camera
years."
can pan like this
Just
or
didn't know
tilt
when.
up and down. My
Cecile
mom and
turned
I use the
around.
camera to show all
Audra
the
was
good
watching
things we
her
make
with the
together.
expression of someone who has
When
been
you get a
careful
moment,
not to
swing
interfere
by.
in something that
I
was
need you
not
to look at
hers
the
to
material
fix,
samples we just got in
and who
for
has
the
been
main
patient
lobby.
for a very long time. "I should have called sooner," Cecile said. "Yes," Audra agreed. "But you called." They sat in Audra's kitchen that first night after Piper was asleep, and Cecile talked. She talked the way she hadn't talked in years, not organizing her thoughts for someone else's comfort, not softening things so they would land
Look,
easier,
Mom, it's the
just
big
talking
building.
about the
Yes,
studio,
sweetie, we're almost there.
about Miles,
Are you ready for school?
about the 14 months of preparing,
She's in the
about
back,
the walls she
totally
had painted
absorbed
that
in her
morning
drawing.
4 hours while
It's
Piper
really
was
beautiful.
at
She
school.
looks at it with such quiet
The
awe.
botanical mural she had sketched in her notebook 3 years ago and never thought she would actually make. Audra listened and refilled her tea and did not offer a single piece of advice until Cecile asked for it. When Cecile asked what she should do next, Audra said, "You already know. You've known for months. You just need someone to tell you that you're allowed."
Apologies for the wait, folks.
Cecile looked at
Here
her.
are the coffees. The
You're
last
allowed?
session ran just a bit
Audra
over.
said simply. Something in Cecile's chest, which had been held very tight for a very long time, loosened by a fraction. Outside,
Your coffee,
Chicago hummed
exactly
with
how
its
you like
usual
it.
indifference.
Thank you, I appreciate
And for
that.
the first time in 9 years, Cecile Harmon was somewhere she had chosen entirely for herself. Miles Cho called Cecile on her third morning at Audra's. "I need you to come see something," he said, "before you make any decisions. Just come look." She took the L to the West Loop with Piper, who had been told they were going to see an old friend of Mom's, and had accepted this with characteristic calm. They walked 2 blocks from the station to a building on Randolph Street that Cecile remembered from years ago. A mid-century commercial building with good bones,
ID01.
poor recent choices,
Do you still
and
know
interior
how to
finishes.
feel what is
The ground
wrong with
floor
a room?
had been renovated. The space was open and warm, with polished concrete floors and high industrial ceilings and north-facing windows that threw clean, even light across the whole room. 2 drafting tables, a long work counter,
As
a
you can
materials
see, the
library
light
along
washes
one
the
wall,
samples. We absolutely
fabric
need that
swatches,
secondary
paint
shade layer
samples,
installed before
finish
spring
boards.
fully arrives.
organized with the same precision she and Miles had always used. On one of the drafting tables was a project file with her name on the tab. She stopped in the middle of the room. "Miles," she said. "I kept the clients that wanted to wait," he said from behind her. "The Hendersons, the Farrow Group, Lakeview Hotel's second phase. I told them the timeline was flexible." He paused. "I might have implied you'd been traveling."
I think the zoning permits for
She
the
turned
Lakeview
around.
project are still the main
Miles
bottleneck
Cho
for phase
had the
2.
same face
Right, we
he'd
need to
always
address
had.
that before we finalize the budget.
Unhurried, slightly amused by his own seriousness. The kind of person who prepared for things without announcing the preparation. He was holding 2 cups of coffee from the shop downstairs, and he held one out to her with the easy certainty of someone who had been expecting her for years. "I kept your desk," he said. I didn't give it to anyone else because I didn't want to. Cecile took the coffee. Her hands were steady. Miles, it's been 9 years. I know how long
here,
it's been,
the
he
300,000,
said.
is based entirely on the Q3
The question isn't how long.
I understand, but the asset
The question
notes
is whether you
categorize
still
it
know
differently.
how to walk into a room and feel what's wrong with it. She looked around the space. She looked at the light on the concrete floor. She
Are we
looked at the
clear on the
materials
potential
library
liabilities,
and the
Counselor?
project files
The situation
and
is
the drafting
fluid.
table with her name on
There are
it.
complications we didn't foresee
felt
regarding
the
the
room.
merger.
She felt what was right about it. The north windows need a secondary shade layer, she said. The afternoon light will shift in spring and wash out the material samples. Miles smiled. First observation in 9 years, he said. And it's correct. Piper, who had been standing quietly beside the materials wall, running her fingers over the fabric swatches, looked up at her mother and said, "Mom, I think you like it here." The divorce filing arrived at Reed's attorney's office on a Monday. It was thorough,
By layering these textures, we achieved the
which
warmth you
surprised
wanted.
him.
The scale
or
of this
rather,
fixture really draws
it
the eye up.
surprised
And
the
notice how
version
the
of him
natural
that it
light
still
changes the
believed
tone of the wood
somewhere
here. The natural
that
light
Cecile
truly
would
defines this
eventually
space,
call,
complementing
and
the
that this would
panoramic
resolve the way
skyline
other
view.
difficult things
And this
in his
mural
life
is
had
simply
resolved.
breathtaking.
Through his composure and his resources, and the simple fact that he was very good at managing outcomes, the filing was not the work of a woman who had acted impulsively. It documented 9 years of financial dependency created by the marriage. It cited the closure of Penn plus Cho Design and the professional opportunities Cecile had declined
It
or
has
missed
3
during the
layers,
marriage.
and we used baking
It
soda
included
for the
a financial
eruption.
analysis.
It was way bigger than Sarah's.
Prepared,
That sounds
his
really
attorney
impressive,
noted,
sweetie.
by someone who understood exactly what they were doing. That identified the value of Cecile's lost professional income over 9 years.
I have to admit,
against current market
this
rates
room
for
truly
an
is
interior
better with your
designer
vision.
of her
ID
documented
01.
caliber. The number was
So the new kiln
significant.
arrived yesterday, and I've already
His
fired the
attorney
first
reviewed
batch.
it
The
and was
glazes are
quiet
coming out
for a moment
perfectly.
before
Oh,
he
that's
spoke.
wonderful news, darling. I'm
Reed,
so
he
happy
said
for you.
carefully. This was prepared by someone who has been thinking about this for a long time. I know, Reed said. Is there anything I should know about on your end before we respond? Reed thought again about V and his phone. He thought about the hotel, the conference trips that weren't entirely conference trips. He thought about the things Cecile
We
had
should
never
focus
said
on what the
directly,
house
but
wants
had
from us,
understood.
rather than dwelling on what
He
the
knew
previous
she had
owners did
understood.
wrong. This way, we
Because
can
she
move
was
forward
not,
with the renovation.
and had never been unaware. There may be some complications, he said. His attorney set down his pen. The complications, as they unfolded over the following 2 weeks, were not minor.
If you look at the
Vanessa
Q3
Cord,
projections here for the Lakeview Hotel,
when
the
reached by
occupants rate is
Reed's
slightly
attorney
lower than
in a different
anticipated.
context,
I see that. Is that factoring
made
in the
clear
recent
through her
renovations?
own representation
So when can you
that she
actually
had
start
no
on the
interest in being
renovations?
used as a variable
We can
in someone
begin
else's legal
mobilization
strategy.
as early as next
She had her
Monday.
own career
And that's
her own
where the
reputation,
ID01 concept
and
really
she was
shines.
not willing to complicate
It integrates
either.
the structural elements
Reed's
seamlessly
social
with
circle,
the aesthetic goals we
the
discussed.
developers, the partners, the dinner circuit that moved through the same restaurants on the same evenings, became aware of the filing
Adjust the
in
sight
the way
lines
that
here.
professional networks
This
always
resolves
become
the
aware
issue
of
with the
things
entry flow.
without anyone announcing it, but suddenly
I just
and
heard back
completely.
they approved everything. We are good to
2
go.
lunch invitations were not followed up on. A
Oh my
partnership
God.
inquiry he had been expecting to close went quiet. The penthouse felt very large in the evenings. He stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows one night and looked at Chicago's skyline. The same view he had chosen this apartment for, the view he had been certain meant something, and found it gave him nothing. 3 weeks after Cecile left, a real estate agent came to assess the penthouse. Reed was considering his options. The apartment was in his name. But the divorce proceedings had put certain assets in a contested category, and his attorney had advised him to document everything thoroughly. The agent walked through the space making notes, commenting on finishes, asking about the renovation history. She stopped in the living room. She stood in front of the east-facing wall for a long time. The mural covered the entire surface, floor to ceiling, 12 feet across, botanicals in sage and terracotta and warm gold, rendered with the precision of someone who had studied space and proportion and the emotional weight of color
Waiting
for
clients
15 years.
stayed
It was not
because
decorative
design
in the
talent
superficial
still
sense.
mattered.
It was structural. It transformed the room. Who did this? The agent asked. My wife, Reed said. The agent looked at him. She's a professional? She was, he said. She closed her studio years ago. The agent looked back at the wall. This is museum quality work, she said. Not as a compliment to Reed, simply as a fact about the wall. She finished her assessment and handed him the written valuation at the door. As she was leaving, she paused.
I've incorporated the changes we discussed.
For what it's worth,
The
she
timeline
said.
is solid.
Come up.
Whoever
Excellent.
painted that
This is
wall
exactly
made this
what we needed.
apartment what it is. The bones are fine. The finishes are standard. But that wall, that's the reason someone would pay
For
what
the
this
north
place is
light,
listed
we need a
for.
secondary shear layer
She left.
mounted flush to
Reed
the
stood in
ceiling.
the living room alone and looked at the wall.
Is acting
He
himself.
had wanted white,
I think the tensile strength
He had
on
said
the
both
composite
times
might actually
Cecile
work
asked.
here.
that he preferred white, that the space was cleaner, more versatile, more appropriate for the building's aesthetic. He had not thought about it again. He had simply expected that preference to hold because his preferences generally held in this apartment, in this marriage, in this life. She had spent 9 years wanting to paint this wall. She had done it in 4 hours on a Tuesday morning and then walked out the door. He could paint over it. He understood this. He could have someone come in and restore the white he had wanted, and it would look exactly as it had before. He did not call anyone. He sat on the his sectional, in his apartment, with his view of his city, and looked at the wall his wife had painted, and felt with uncomfortable clarity that the room was better with it. That Cecile had known that, and that he had
This
not let
highlighted
her.
section here.
The first
projected
client meeting
losses
back
exceed the
was
studio's
the
offer.
Hendersons,
We demand the
a
full
couple in
amount
Lincoln
specified
Square
in the
who had been
contract.
waiting. Miles told her with characteristic understatement. Patiently, and with increasing decorating opinions, they'd been suppressing.
Regarding Contact V, there have been some minor
Cecile drove to
procedural
the meeting in
complications.
Audra's car
We
with a
anticipate
new
these can be
notebook
resolved,
and her old
assuming the court
instincts.
accepts our
She
interpretation
walked
of the
into
events.
the Hendersons'
I will
home,
not be leveraged in
a
this manner.
1920s craftsman that had
This
been
strategy
renovated
is
without
dismissed.
consideration for its original character, and spent 40 minutes walking through every room without saying much. Then she sat down with them at their kitchen table and told them exactly what she saw. Not what they had done wrong, what the house was trying to be, and how to help it get there.
We should
She
finalize
spoke
the
about
terms by
proportion
next week.
and light, and the specific quality of warmth
Absolutely, this
that craftsman
collaboration is
woodwork
exactly
creates
what we needed.
when you work with it instead of covering it. She spoke about the color on their living room walls, a beige that had seemed safe and instead made everything feel provisional, and suggested something she had been thinking about since she walked in the door. There's a terracotta in the Red family, she said, that would make this room feel like it's been here for 100 years. That's what this house wants. Mrs. Henderson looked at Mr. Henderson. Mr. Henderson said, "When can you start?" The drive back to Audra's felt different from the drive there. She sat at a red light on Western Avenue and let herself feel it. Not pride exactly, but something more fundamental. Recognition. The particular sensation of doing the thing you are actually built to do, after years of not doing it. She called Miles from the car. They said yes, she said. I know, he said. I assumed. She laughed, a real laugh, the kind that comes
Hello,
without
it's
warning.
so wonderful to finally
She had
meet you
not
in
laughed
person.
like that
Welcome.
in longer than she
Please,
could
come on
accurately
in.
remember. At Audra's that evening, Piper wanted to know what color terracotta was. Cecile found a swatch in her bag and held it up. Piper studied it with the seriousness of someone forming a professional opinion. It's like the color of dried
By
flowers,
opening up this wall,
Piper said.
we really let the house
Yes,
breathe and
Cecile
embrace
said.
the natural light you
Exactly
wanted.
like that. I like it, Piper decided, and went back to her drawing. Audra was watching from across the kitchen. She said nothing. She simply picked up her tea and smiled into it. The quiet smile of someone watching
So,
something they have
when
been
can you
waiting
begin the
for
work?
come back to life.
We are fully
Pen plus
prepared
Cho
to start
Design
next week.
had its first signed contract in 9 years. And Cecile Harmon, for the first time in just as long, felt like herself.
You
The
are not
custody
going to believe
filing
this.
came on a Thursday.
They loved it. Absolutely
Reed's
loved
attorney
it.
had
I can't
advised him
believe
that
we
his
pulled it
strongest
off.
remaining leverage was residential custody of Piper.
Randolph Street Studio.
He
this
was the
is Sarah.
primary financial
Yes, Mr.
provider.
Davis. We just finished
He owned the
installing the
marital
boards. They look
residence.
excellent.
He had the more established professional position. The argument was textbook, and his attorney made it without apparent discomfort. Cecile received the filing at Audra's and read it at the kitchen table. She read it twice. Then she set it down and looked out the window at Fulton Market below. The restaurants opening for lunch service, a delivery truck double parked, the ordinary business of a Chicago Thursday, and breathed. She called her attorney, a woman named Bridget Sohn, who had come recommended by Audra and who had been in family law for 22 years. Bridget reviewed the filing same day. "This is a pressure move," Bridget said. "He's trying to destabilize the financial negotiations by introducing custody as a variable. Standard playbook."
Have a great time, sweetie.
Can
Call
he
us when
win?
you get there.
Cecile
I packed your
asked.
favorite snacks.
Okay,
Bridget
love you guys.
was quiet
Bye.
for a moment. "Not on the merits. Piper has been in your primary care. You have stable housing at your aunt's. A family court judge
Based
will
on
weigh
the
stability
discovery,
of
the
environment,
co-parenting plan
and your
is
aunt's home
insufficient.
qualifies.
We must file an
Your
objection to
professional
supervised
reestablishment
visitation
works
immediately.
in your favor, not against you." The custody hearing was set for 3 weeks out. Cecile spent those 3 weeks doing exactly what she had been doing. Working, being present with Piper in the evenings, helping her with homework at Audra's kitchen table.
This custody
Reading to
filing
her
isn't
at
based on merit. It's leverage.
She did
we are
not
using it
perform
as a
stability.
pressure move to force their
She
hand on
lived
the
it.
assets.
Because it was what she had been doing quietly for weeks, and because Piper needed it. Piper asked her once during those weeks why Daddy wanted
Remember
her
the
to
rule
live
about
with him.
multiplying decimals. You need to shift it
Cecile
over.
chose her words
right,
carefully.
so it's 0.4.
Exactly.
Because he loves you,
You got it.
she said. He does love you.
And so the little
This is
dragon
about
curled
grown-up
up by
things
the
that
warmest
aren't about
stone,
you.
dreaming of flying lessons
Piper
in the
considered
morning.
this.
IDO2
But I want to stay with
seems
you,
lonely after
she said.
visit.
I
IDO3
know.
warm kitchen.
Cecile said. And I'm
He
working
feels that
very
this is the
hard
best
to make sure
environment
that
for
happens.
him right now. We discussed
Piper
it,
looked at her with complete
and I have to
confidence.
respect his wishes.
You'll figure it out.
Choices can often
she
create
said.
a sense of loneliness.
You always
but within
figure
that
things out.
space, we find the most
7
profound
years
opportunities
old
for
and
learning.
completely, devastatingly
Life
right.
feels better now.
Bridget Sohn received a phone call 12 days before the custody hearing. It was from an attorney representing Vanessa
IDZ01
Cord.
always figures
Vanessa,
things out
the attorney
with
explained,
complete trust.
Was not interested in being drawn into the custody
Yes,
proceedings
I understand
as
the
a character
timeline, but we
witness
are
for
not
Reed.
prepared to concede on custody.
She was also
Send the
not
revised
interested in
settlement
having her
offer
own
by end of
conduct
day.
misrepresented in those proceedings. She was therefore prepared to provide a voluntary statement to the family court if it would allow the matter to be resolved without her involvement being forced by subpoena. The statement, submitted 2 days later, was brief and factual. It confirmed that she and Reed Harmon had been involved outside of their professional relationship for approximately 22 months. It confirmed the dates and general nature of several occasions. It did not dramatize or embellish. It was simply accurate. Reed's attorney called him immediately
I
after
understand.
receiving the statement.
We need to move
The
quickly
conversation
on this.
was short. 2 days later, Reed withdrew the custody petition. Cecile was at the studio on Randolph Street. She had been there since 7 in the morning, working through finish selections for the Henderson project. When Bridget called to tell her, she set down the paint sample she had been holding and looked at the light on the concrete floor. She did not feel triumphant. She felt something more complicated and more honest than triumph. The particular sadness of watching someone make every wrong choice available to them and still be surprised by the outcome. She had loved Reed once, had loved the man she met at that hotel opening, the man who asked smart questions and remembered what she said. That man had been real. He had simply not been the only thing Reed was. She called Piper's school and asked to be added to the pickup confirmation list. She stopped at the Barnes &
Look at
Noble
this
on
one,
State
sweetie.
Street on the way home.
It shows how they
and
built
bought
the
Piper
Empire
a book
State Building.
about a girl who
Wow,
builds
that's
things.
amazing. Can we get
Bridges
it, please?
in the story, out of whatever she can find. Piper had been wanting it for weeks. That evening, she read it to Piper in bed. And Piper fell asleep before the last chapter, one hand still resting on the page. Cecile sat in the dark for a while.
This is my dad, and
Then
this
she
is my
opened the
mom,
drawing
and that's
Piper
me
had
and my
given her
dog
on the morning
Sparky.
they left.
Oh, that looks wonderful,
The building,
sweetie.
the
What a
windows,
happy family.
the small, solitary figure on the sidewalk. She looked at it for a long time. Then she put it in the drawer of the nightstand, gently, like something that had mattered and was finished mattering. The financial settlement took 4 months to finalize.
My family is just my
It
mom
was,
and me,
by
but
any
we make
measure,
really good things.
Significant.
We baked
9
cookies
years
yesterday,
of documented
and they were
professional
the
opportunity
best.
cost, calculated at current market rates, added to an equitable division of marital assets, added to child support calculated on Reed's income.
The QDRO needs to reflect the revised
The total
valuation
was
of
a
the
number
pension
his
based on
attorney
the new
presented
lost
to
income
him
figures.
with the careful
I've updated the
neutrality of someone
spreadsheet.
delivering news they are paid not to editorialize about. Reed signed because his attorney told him to, and because he was, in the end, a man who understood when a position was untenable. Bryce plus Calloway, the development firm. They were cordial. They continued being cordial. But the partnership seat he had been expecting to be offered at the annual review that
I am
spring
pleased to announce that the
was given
partnership
to
seat
someone
is
else.
being offered to Miss Ndi.
And the
Thank you so
explanation
much. I am
was
honored.
vague.
Congratulations.
In the way that explanations
Well
are
deserved.
vague when the actual
amazing how
reason
focused she
is
is.
understood by everyone
She's
and
got this look
articulated
of
by
quiet
no one.
awe while
Vanessa
she
had moved to
colors.
the firm's Dallas office before the statement was submitted. She had arranged it 3 weeks before she called her attorney, with the efficiency of someone who understood that the only
I really
clean
love
exit
how the light
was a
hits the
fast
gold
one.
accents on the mural.
The penthouse
It's stunning.
sold in March.
It really is. The sage
He had
green
hired
here
someone
is
to assess whether
perfect.
the mural could be preserved, transported somehow, removed, and remounted. The answer was no. The technique Cecile had used, the way she had worked directly into the plaster, meant the mural was part of the wall. It could be painted over. It could not be moved. The buyers, a couple relocating from San Francisco, walked through the apartment 3 times. Each time, they spent the longest part of their visit standing in front of the east wall. They made an offer above asking. In their purchase offer, they included a stipulation. The mural was to remain. They would not purchase the apartment without it. Reed read the stipulation in his attorney's office and set it down without comment. He signed. He took a furnished sublet in River North and spent his evenings in restaurants where he knew the maitre d' and could have a good meal and good wine and feel, most of the time, that he was fine. Most of the time. Pen plus Cho Design celebrated its reopening.
The light in here
Unofficial,
this evening is
low-key.
incredible.
Yeah, it really
A gathering
highlights
of
the
clients
space.
and collaborators
Cheers, everyone.
in the Randolph Street studio on a Thursday evening in October.
Here is the updated schedule you
with good
requested.
wine from a shop on
Perfect,
Kinsey
thank you.
Street
We will review
and a
this
table
right
of
away.
food that Miles had spent an afternoon assembling. There were 22 people in the room. Cecile stood near the north windows. She had installed a secondary shade layer, as she had noted
To the
on her
7th
first
project.
day back.
Cheers.
And the afternoon light was exactly what she intended it to be, and looked at the room she had helped rebuild. She had worked on 6 projects in the previous 12 months. 3 were complete. 1 was ongoing. 2 were signed and scheduled. She had been written up in a Chicago architecture publication. Her former editor
hello.
at Architectural Digest
I'm so
had
glad you could
emailed
make
to
it.
ask if she would consider contributing to their next wave interiors feature.
Congratulations on the
She
partnership
had
on
said
Jolly.
yes.
We are thrilled to have you
Miles
join
stood
us.
beside her with his
Well
wine
deserved.
and looked at the room with the expression of
successful
someone who was
collaboration.
trying not to appear
Cheers.
as satisfied as he actually is. 6 projects, she said. 7, he corrected. The Lakeview Hotel signed this morning. She looked at him. He shrugged.
It's so wonderful to see the
I was
studio
going to
open
tell you
again.
after the
The
party.
work on these boards is absolutely stunning.
She raised
I
her
completely
glass.
agree. The textures
He
are
raised his.
fantastic.
The
Piper
seventh
was in the
project
corner
was
of the
signed that
room with
morning.
Audra,
Wonderful.
showing her a drawing she had made of the studio, the windows, the materials library,
This
the
mural
long
is
work
exquisite.
counter.
We must insist
It was
remains
detailed and
completely
careful
untouched.
It's
and bore a
essential to the
significant
aesthetic.
resemblance
Understood.
to the
We can
style of
certainly include that
architectural
as a condition
sketch
of
that
sale.
Cecile used in her early project notes. Later, after the party, after Piper was asleep in the back of Audra's car on the drive back to the West Loop, Cecile sat in the front seat and looked at the city moving past the windows and felt
And
the
this is
specific
us at the
quality of the
beach,
evening.
and the sun is smiling.
Good.
Oh, honey, that is
Simple.
absolutely beautiful. I love
Earned.
the colors you used.
She was 36 years old. She had walked out of a life that had been organized entirely around someone else's certainty. She had built something new out of what she had before. The instincts, the eye, the friendships she had kept even at the edge of
This
losing
is
them.
absolutely wonderful, sweetie.
She had
I
not
love
needed
the
to become
colors you
someone
used for the
different.
house. You are so
She had
talented.
needed simply to come back. There is a certain category of feeling that arrives without announcement. Miles Cho had spent 9 years telling himself that his decision to keep Cecile's desk was professional. The clients had liked her. The desk was a good desk. These were reasonable explanations, and he had used them comfortably for the better part of a decade. The morning after the reopening party, he arrived at the studio early and found Cecile already there. She had her coffee from the shop downstairs, her notebook open to a sketch she had been working on, and her shoes off under the drafting table in the way she had always worked when she was thinking hard. He stood in the doorway for a moment before she looked up. "You're here early," she said. "You're here earlier," he pointed out. She held up her coffee. "There were things I wanted to think through." He came in, set his bag down,
Look
made
at
his own
that
coffee.
perfect consistency. You're
They
becoming a
worked through the
master
morning in
baker.
the particular companionable
smells
quiet
so
that
good
people
already.
fall into when they have known each other for a very long time. At noon, she said, "Miles." "Yes." "Why did you really keep the desk?" He looked at his project files for a moment. Then he looked at her. "Because I wanted you to come back," he said. That's the whole answer. She looked at him across the studio.
Tell me,
the
why
light
did
on
you
the
truly
concrete,
keep your
the
desk for
materials
9 years?
library, the
It's
north windows
complicated.
doing exactly what
It
she
holds
had
sentimental
intended.
value.
The room they had built together. That's a very long time to want something, she said. "I know," he said. "I'm a patient
The
person."
desk was kept
She smiled,
because
not the cautious
a
smile she
return was
cultivated in the
wanted.
penthouse. Her actual smile.
And-
Open, a little crooked. The one he had known since they were 23 years old. He smiled back. Nothing was decided in that moment. Nothing needed to be. Things that are real do not need to be decided all at once. They simply need to be acknowledged, carefully and without hurry, by two people who have earned the right to take their time. Outside, Chicago was doing its October thing, turning gold at the edges, the light going soft the way it does before it goes. Reed's scheduled visits with Piper were on alternating Saturdays. He picked her up from Audra's at 10 in the morning and brought her back at 5. He took her to the Lincoln Park Zoo, which she loved, and to the Art Institute, which she tolerated with more patience than most 7-year-olds because she liked the architectural drawings in the architecture department. He was good with her during these visits. Cecile recognized this without comfort or complication. Reed had always been capable of warmth, in the right conditions, in controlled doses. He loved Piper in the particular way he was capable of loving things, with provision and attention, and the absence of the understanding that love requires ongoing, unconditional presence rather than curated time. Piper came back from the visits with the calm, contained affect of a child who is processing something that she is too young to fully articulate.
Look, Mom, a monkey.
After one
Wow,
visit,
he's a noisy
she
one,
told
isn't he?
Cecile, "Daddy seems lonely." Cecile looked at her daughter. "Sometimes people make choices that lead to that," she said carefully.
See them there, nestled
And
in the
then
rocks.
they
Yes,
have to learn
Father.
from them.
They're amazing.
Does he know what he did wrong? Piper asked. Cecile considered this genuinely. "I think he's beginning to," she said. Piper nodded slowly. "Mom?" "Yes." "I'm glad we left," Piper said. Not with cruelty, simply with the frank, clean clarity of someone stating what is true. "I'm glad we live it on Audra's. I like our life better now." Cecile held her daughter against her side and looked at the ceiling of Audra's kitchen.
To
"Me
the
too,"
future,
she said.
and to finally doing
too.
things my way.
There were things she would never tell Piper. Not to protect Reed, but because children deserve to carry their years lightly without the full weight of their parents' failures.
ID02
She would tell her more when
seems
she was
lonely
older.
without cruelty.
For now,
ID03.
Piper knew what she needed to know. Her mother was happy. Their life was warm. And that, at 7, was more than enough.
Choices can
The
often
new
lead
owners
to
of the
loneliness,
penthouse, the
but
couple
they
from San
always
Francisco,
provide us with
whose names
valuable
were Greta
lessons in the
and
end.
Tom Ash, sent Cecile a letter 3 months after they moved in. They had tracked her down through the real estate agent. The letter was handwritten on heavy stationery, and it said,
ID02.
essentially,
Do you
2
know
things.
what went wrong?
First, that they loved the apartment. And second, that they needed to know who had painted the wall. Greta Ash wrote that they had lived in a number of beautiful spaces, and this was the first one that had made her feel genuinely at home. She believed it was because of the wall. She believed
he
the
may
person
be
who painted
beginning
it
to understand.
understood something about what a room is for that
He's
most
processing
designers
it all
don't.
in his own way.
Cecile read the
Life
letter at the studio on Randolph Street.
ID03 home
She read it
feels
twice.
better now.
Then she wrote back, also by hand, because the letter deserved it. She told Greta about the room, about the 9 years of wanting to paint it, and the 4 hours she had finally taken. She did not tell Greta all of the context. She told her enough. She told her that she had painted it without knowing if it was the right thing to do, or just the thing she needed to do. Sometimes those are the same, she wrote. And sometimes you don't know which one it was until later. She finished by telling Greta what she had been thinking about all 9 of those years. That a room should always tell the truth about the people who live in it. Not about their money or their taste in the abstract, but about their actual lives, their actual warmth, the things they actually reach for in the dark. She had not been able to tell that truth in the penthouse while she lived there. She had told it in 4 hours on her way out the door. Greta
It
Ash
genuinely
wrote
feels
back
like
one
home
more
now
time.
because of the painted wall.
If you ever have an opening
The
in your
light in
client
here
list,
is perfect.
we have a vacation home in Michigan
It has
we'd
been
like to talk
9
to you
years
about.
of wanting to paint the wall,
Cecile
and only
smiled
4
and added
hours
the
of
name to her
actually doing
calendar.
it.
Don't tell
For a
anyone,
school project in
but I
November,
think this is the
Piper's
best
second
room in
grade
the
class
whole
was asked to make
house.
something that represented their family. Some children brought photographs. One brought a recipe card. One brought a small flag. Piper brought a drawing. It was large. She had used an entire sheet of poster board, and it showed a house she had invented. Wide windows, a front garden, a lamp in every room so each window glowed. 2 figures inside, one tall and one
Wow,
small,
it's
both visible through
perfect.
the windows from
This is
outside.
my room.
Above the house she had written, in careful
This is
second-grade
all
letters,
yours, sweetie.
"This
Everything
is
in
my
here
family.
is just for you.
We are
Oh,
my
it's
mom and
perfect,
me.
Mommy.
We make good things."
This is me and my mom and dad.
Her teacher,
and this little
who had
one
been
here
doing this
is
for
my
18
baby
years,
brother.
Did you
looked
use
at the
paint
drawing
for the
for a long
background?
moment after Piper explained it. "This is beautiful, Piper. What kind of good things do you make?" Piper considered the question seriously. My mom makes rooms feel like home, she said. I make drawings of them.
So here is my mom and
The
this
teacher
is me.
sent the drawing
we are
home
making
with a
our
note.
favorite cookies to share with everyone.
Cecile read the
Making
note in the
things
car
together is
and
the
sat with
best.
it for a minute
So
in the
the
school
living room
parking
is
lot
first. I thought we
before
could
she
put the
drove.
big sofa right here, facing the
That
window.
evening, she
And then in
called
the
Audra.
kitchen, we definitely need to repaint.
Piper made
And
something today,
So if we move the
she said.
So if
Tell
we
me,
move the
Audra
bookshelf,
said.
does that affect the
She
flow
told her.
towards the kitchen?
She described the drawing, the glowing windows, the two figures, the large, careful letters. We make good things.
if we move this wall here,
Audra was
it
quiet
might open
on
up
the
the
other end.
entryway more.
I see what you mean.
She's your
That
daughter,
could work.
Audra finally said. All the way through. Cecile hung up the phone and looked at the drawing propped against the kitchen backsplash, the lamplight catching it. The invented house, the warm windows, the two figures visible from outside.
I wish you could see this.
She thought
It's a
about what
picture
it
of the
meant to
whole
be seen,
family, done in crayon.
really seen,
The detail is
by a
amazing for a
7-year-old who was
7-year-old.
paying attention. She thought,
The future will be
this
good.
is what I was building toward.
And I don't only mean the apartment.
Not the studio, not the settlement, not the life after. This exact moment with this exact drawing on my kitchen counter. Reed Harmon did not have a dramatic reckoning. There was no single moment of collapse, no confrontation, no scene.
Yes, it's
What
strange
he
to see
had
it empty,
was
but
time,
I know this is where it ends.
the particular quantity
good
of it
about
that
it.
comes with a smaller apartment and fewer standing obligations, and the absence of the person who had, without his ever acknowledging it, structured his domestic life and his social ease. He read a book in January that a colleague had left in the break room. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, a worn paperback with a broken spine. He picked it up because he was tired of his own thoughts and needed someone else's. He read it over 3 evenings. One line stopped him. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He thought about Cecile. He thought about the 9 years of an impediment he had created without ever calling it that. He thought about the studio she had closed and the wall she had wanted to paint and the drawer full of design notebooks he had found when he was clearing the penthouse. Notebooks he had not known existed, full of sketches and color studies and ideas she had continued developing in private long after he had stopped asking about her work.
All right, I think that covers
He
everything
had
for the
not thrown
Q3
them
review.
away.
Thanks, everyone. Talk soon.
He had packed them
All
carefully
right, who's next?
and sent them to Audra's address. He did not include a note. He thought about writing one and decided that whatever he wrote would be for his comfort more than hers, and that she had carried enough of his comfort already. He was not a transformed man.
By integrating the
He was not
charcoal
going to
tones
claim
here, we
transformation.
maintain the minimalist
He was
aesthetic
simply a man
while
who
adding
had lost
necessary
something
depth.
he had not
Yes,
understood
that makes
while
sense.
he had it.
These sketches capture the vision
And
perfectly.
who was
I love the texture
slowly
combination.
Absolutely. The
without any
olive and the
particular
beige
grace.
create a nice balance, especially with this lighting.
Learning to sit with the weight of that, without looking for someone else to distribute it to. He went back to work. He was good at his work. He continued being good at it. He did not call Cecile. He took his Saturdays with Piper seriously. He was beginning, in the smallest possible ways, to become a person his daughter might one day respect.
We love you.
Have a good
And
time.
he
I
understood.
will.
Dawned
Bye,
him that was
Mom.
the only version of redemption available to him. And that it
Is this
would
where
take
the beams
years.
connect?
Yes, that's the main
And that it
tension
was still
point.
worth attempting. In February, Cecile and Piper moved into
Finally,
their
we're
own
back.
apartment.
I was getting
It was on
tired.
the 3rd floor of
Well,
a
we
graystone
made it just in time for
Andersonville.
dinner.
2 bedrooms, a bright kitchen,
Hi,
a
sweetie.
living
Did you have a
room with
good day?
east-facing
I
windows that caught
did.
the morning light.
Look what we
Old
made
building,
in class.
good bones, in need of attention. It needed new paint throughout, refinished floors, fixtures that fit the character of the space rather than fighting it. Cecile moved in and spent the first weekend doing nothing but living in it. She walked through each room at different hours and felt what the light did. She sat in the kitchen in the morning with coffee and looked at the east windows. She lay on the living room floor in the afternoon and looked at the ceiling. She sat on the edge of the bathtub and thought about the tile. Then she made a list. Piper decorated her room on the second weekend with her drawings, pinned to the wall in a careful grid ordered by subject matter. She put her stuffed rabbit on the windowsill where it could look out at the street.
I highlighted this section
She put her
regarding the
string of
staffing
starlights
budget.
above the bed. She
And
stood
what
in
about
the
the
doorway
projected
and
revenue
looked
here?
at it.
If we move the entrance
It's
here,
mine,
it improves the
she
flow
said,
significantly.
with complete
I see.
satisfaction.
That actually solves the bottleneck we discussed
is.
earlier.
Cecile said, "All yours." On the third weekend, Miles brought takeout, and they sat on the living room floor with the food between them, because there was no furniture yet. And Cecile told him what she was planning for each room. He listened and asked questions, and occasionally disagreed, and was always right when he did. When he left, he paused in the doorway. "It's going to be good," he said, "not about the apartment." "I know," she said, "not about the apartment either." She closed the door and stood in the middle of her own living room. No furniture, bare floors, windows full of winter streetlight from outside, and felt the space around her. It needed work. Every room did. She knew how to do this. She had always known how to do this. She opened her notebook and began to sketch. The person who could feel what was wrong with a room had finally been given a room of her own. And what it needed, she saw immediately and with perfect clarity, was nothing. It was already home. So the story's over now. And hey, if you're still here with us, that tells me something. You didn't just watch a drama play out. Something
We've reviewed
in
the
Cecile's
feature
story
requests.
landed for you.
The interiors team is
Maybe it was the
aligned,
way she left,
and the active projects are moving
quietly,
forward smoothly.
completely,
If
without
we
a
use the
single
polished
argument.
concrete here, the texture will contrast
Maybe
well
it was
with
the
wood.
wall
I
she
agree, but
painted
let's
on her
make
way
sure the
out
color
the door.
swatch matches the lighter
Or
tones
maybe
in
it
the
was just the
rendering.
feeling of watching someone finally stop making herself smaller for someone who never noticed. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." Cecile didn't lose herself in one dramatic moment. She lost herself slowly in 100 small surrenders, and she came back the same way. One quiet decision at a time. Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we truly
Here she
own
is.
how we
Be good,
respond
sweetie.
to what happens to us. Not the marriage, not the house, not the opinion of someone who underestimated us. Just our next move. If this story reminded you of someone, maybe even yourself, please don't keep it to yourself. Share this video. Someone out there needs to hear it today. And if you haven't subscribed yet, join us. We'll see you in the next one. This story is a work of fiction created entirely for storytelling and entertainment purposes. All characters, names, locations, businesses, and events depicted in this video are fictional and do not represent any real individuals, living or deceased. Any resemblance to actual persons or situations is purely coincidental. The themes explored here, including emotionally dismissive relationships, financial dependency within marriage, and the quiet process of rebuilding a life, are presented to encourage reflection and empathy, not to portray or endorse any harmful behavior. All outcomes shown are consistent with real-world legal and social processes and are handled with responsibility and care. This channel is committed to honest, meaningful storytelling that respects our audience. We do not fabricate real events or misrepresent real people. Every story we tell is clearly fiction, created with the intention of touching hearts, sparking conversation, and celebrating the quiet strength it takes to start over. Thank you for watching. We are glad you are here.